Hello, welcome to Tips and Tricks session from Plaid Dog Design, and today I wanted to show you one of the new features in Adobe Photoshop CS4. This is only in Photoshop CS4, brand new, and pretty fantastic from what I found. It's located under the Edit menu and Content Aware Scale. Now, back before we had Transform, and if I were to shrink or stretch this, it's shrinking and stretching the entire image and throwing everything way out of proportion. With the new Content Aware Scale, what Adobe has done is it's going to transform only the part of the image that has the least amount of image in it. So you can see as we're shrinking this, the palm trees, the beach, the little huts are not being affected. We can also go the other way with this. If I'm going to come in and just expand our canvas size and make this sort of a panoramic view here. Zoom out a little bit so we can all see what's going on. And same thing, if I come down to Content Aware Scale and start to stretch this, it's going to stretch the water, the sky. It's going to start hitting the cloud a little bit, but again, it's not anything that is going to look disproportionate or unrealistic, really. So that's, in a nutshell, the two differences there between Transform and Content Aware Scale. And you can see Adobe's doing a really great job of this. I want to show you another image to show you kind of the how sometimes it won't be great and won't work, and some things that we can do to get around that a little bit. So here I have a picture of some rowboats up on the beach, and I want to do the same thing. I want this more of a square image. For example, if I wanted to use this more of like a CD cover. So we're going to come right away again to Content Aware. Actually, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger, so we have room to grow, and I'll just add another 1,000 pixels here so we have more of a square. And if I come down to Content Aware Scale, you can see right away that this one's not doing near as good of a job, and it's stretching our boats, and it's a bad disproportionate scale. So I'm going to hit cancel. And I'm going to show you the next feature of Content Aware Scale. When you go into the mode and you get the transform boxes, up in your toolbar options panel, we have Protect. And right now we have none and we have no options. This little guy right here is Protect Skin Tones, which works fairly well, but in our image, of course, there's no people, so that's not going to do us any good. So in order to use Protect, what it's going to be looking for is alpha channels that we've saved. So if we come down here and with our lasso tool, I'm just going to make a very loose selection, and it does not have to be a good selection at all. It actually, I've found, works a little bit better if you don't have a very tight selection. I'm going to come up and make sure I'm Add to Selection in my options and get the ones in the back here. And I've also found that if you give it just a little bit of a feather, we'll give it about a 1.5 pixel feather, that it does a little bit of a better job. And now in our channels palette down here, we're just going to save these as a alpha channel. And deselect, and now when we come to Content Aware Scale, in our Protect, we now have our new alpha 1 channel that we just saved from our selection. And I'll choose that and start to scale. And you can see right away that it is doing a good job of protecting our boats to a point. Right about there, you can see on the red boat, it's starting to stretch right at the nose. So I'm just going to pull it out right until it starts to stretch, commit my transform, come down to my channels, and I'm just going to command click to load my selection, bump it over, so I got my rowboats back in there, and do the same thing, save this one, and now I have alpha channel 2, come back up to Content Aware Scale, protect Alpha 2, and start stretching again. And all we're doing is we're giving Photoshop a little bit more background each time to scale before it has to resort right about there. It's starting to stretch the boat again. So we'll commit our changes, load the last channel we had up, and start bumping it over to start so we can protect those boats again. And this last one should be well enough to have enough background to where Adobe can stretch it to where we want and not affect those boats. And so in 3 steps, by using our alpha channels and our protect, we were able to protect those boats and not stretch those at all. You still have a little bit over here in the trees where it's gotten way fuzzy. So we will have to go back and maybe just with our clone stamp grab from a tree over here and just add a little bit of texture back into those trees. The water's okay. That could look like a little bit more of a long exposure picture. We may be able to have to kind of clone a little bit in here. And what we can also do is have a separate file of our image open, and we can clone stamp from that image back into this one if there's not even enough to clone stamp after we've committed our content aware scale. But you can see it was just 3 steps, and it was very quick, and it was a lot quicker than trying to stretch out a photo, add stuff that really wasn't there in the beginning. It would have taken a lot more cloning work, and this one is very quick, very easy, couple of steps, and then just a little bit of touch-up work that we'll have to go back in the trees and a little bit in the sand to get rid of a little bit of that blur and add some texture back in. But there you go. If you have Photoshop CS4, Content Aware Scale under the Edit menu. And thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.